Hey guys, welcome to another edition of Learn How with Pacific Angler. Today I will be tying up one of my favorite scud patterns. My name is Jordan Simpson. Hope you guys follow along here, and if you like all these videos, make sure to check out all our other ones. I think my last one there was the OK Sculpin. Alright guys, starting out here, the materials are UTC 70 in whatever color to match the scud you're tying. EP fiber, original. And you can tell here this is not a lot, but that is all you really need. You're even going to take that length, you're going to cut it in half once you build your loop. UTC altar wire, size small. I've got about 2 and a bit inches here. I always like to give myself enough to work with. Alright guys, I'm just going to start my thread just behind the hook eye. Not a huge deal. I will probably lay a nice thread base down, but you don't have to be too concerned about making it all perfect. The next step here is to tie in your ribbing. You'll always want to tie in your materials in reverse order of when you'll be using it. So I'll be ribbing after I put on the scud back. So I'll be doing the rib first when I'm tying in. Next step is to tie in my scud back. I'm just using clear here. And you can see here I've cut a small taper into it just to make it a little easier for the tie-in point. And there we go. Next order of business here is to build a dubbing loop. So all I'm going to do is take my thread, wrap over my finger, double back, and then you can wrap once or twice around that if you want. I like to always wrap around the actual loop just like that. Get my loop, advance my thread. And now with that EP fiber that I showed you guys at the beginning, I'm going to take that length, it's probably about 1 inch maybe. I'm going to cut it in half. Taking that original 1 inch, cutting it right in half. I will now spread that through my loop. And again, I'm just going to use that next part there. Second half and put that in the loop as well. There it is in my loop, guys. All I'm going to do is use my bodkin and my fingers to control it, and I'm going to spread out that EP fiber. Now the trick here, guys, is you can space it out pretty sparse, because when you build your loop it will double up on itself again. Alright, you can see here, I'm going to turn that up a bit just to make it easier when I pick it out. You can see here that I've got my very sparsely dressed loop. I'm going to pinch it just below the material, give it a good spin, and then slowly let it go. And end up with a brush like that. I will pick it out a little bit. It's already spun out pretty good. Alright guys, out of frame you can't see it, but I've got a small little dish of water. I'm just going to dip my fingers in that. That'll also help make controlling EP fiber a lot easier when you go to palmer your material. I'm going to wrap this forward. And you will see that I do space them out a little bit. I'm not right on top of each other with the wraps. Palmering it backwards. And there we are, I'm almost up front. And I'll clean up the rest of that loop. And there we go. Capture my dubbing loop. And there we go. Alright guys, next step, I'm just going to clean up the head of the fly a little bit. Just going to pull back those materials. There we go. Quick pick. Alright, again now guys, with a wet finger or a dampened finger, just try to split that EP fiber right down the middle if you can. See that there as it starts to split nice and even. I'll take that scud back. Once I've pulled all the fiber down, pull it tight over it, pinch it with my other hand, and just tie it off. Now the tricky part here, guys, to an extent, is to weave your wire through your ribbing. One thing I always like to do here is just carefully weave the ribbing through material the best you can. You will pick it out after, so don't worry if it's not perfect. And then just keep going up the body. Once you get to the front there, just going to tie off. And then once you build a little head, just going to whip finish. Alright, so the next step here is to pick out a lot of that material. Alrighty folks, there we go there. So I got most of the legs out there. All I'm going to do now is going to take some UV resin. Once I've cleaned up any stray hairs, you can see there's some stray hairs right there. Just going to take my lighter, a little touch up, just burns off any random strays there. Alright guys, again, a little bit of moisture on my fingers, not much. Just going to pull down that EP fiber. And there we go. Alright guys, I've got Solarez UV Thick here. Any thick UV resin will work and will be good, but I like the Solarez brand. I've had no issues with it, and again, like I've said in previous videos, their roots are in the surfboard industry and the coating's on that, so you know it's going to dry nice and hard. I'm going to apply a thin layer to the top. I usually start in the middle, and then I can space it out left or right depending what I need to do. But if you put it all on one end, it will drip off and you'll have to start all over again. Give it a good squeeze. You can see the resin starting to come out there. There we go. So what I'll do now is I'll just use my bodkin to shape it. Guys, this is the thick formula, so you will have time to play with it and move it around and shape it to where you'd like. I've tried this with the thin and medium before, and I find it leaks into the EP fiber, causing the base closest to the hook shank to be really stiff. Doesn't really give it much movement. Alright, I'm just going to give it a quick flash with the light. You can always build up layers, so it's better to go on a little thinner than too thick. That will also help with the curing process. Give it a little more of the thick here. This will help build its shape. Alright guys, we're almost done. I'm gonna finish shaping it. We'll flash it with the light in 2 seconds, give it a trim, and then we'll be done. Alright, you can see I've created a nice scud back there. It's nice and crescent shaped. Just gonna give it a quick flash with the UV light again to cure it. Trimming into this, I like to always start it upside down and follow the shape of the hook itself. I'll sort of do a half crescent and follow the shape of the hook there. To thin out any extra clumpy areas, instead of cutting it flat, cut into it. That will naturally thin it out. Alrighty guys, so hope you had fun. That there is a super simple, super easy scud pattern there. Great for the spring lakes, great for the fall as well. And you can see you can tie this in any color you'd like. Just make sure you have different colors on hand, match the different marls along the bottom of the lake there. Alright guys, tune into another episode hopefully next week there, and if you like any of these videos, make sure to like, comment, or subscribe. And if you're curious about any of the other videos, just hit our playlist to the left.